Now, there are some other elements that I'd like to put together that I'm envisioning for this invite, and I want to still use the same photograph of the flower. To get started, I'm going to go ahead and use the PaintCan app. This is something I've already created. PaintCan allows you to take an image and to basically apply these filters. You get to do them yourself with your finger or stylus. This selecting the image down here with the upward arrow can show you what the original image is. And this is where I've gone. And this is what I've saved out to my photos by selecting the downward arrow to the right here. Now I can also save this out via email or messaging and social networks. The one downside to PaintCan at this time, and hopefully it'll be changed, is that it does not link with the Adobe Creative Cloud at this time. But let me show you just real quick what some of these different features do and how you get started when you open up PaintCan. Select the far left icon on the bottom here, the one with the arrow pointing to the right. That'll allow us to try to decide on how we want this. We can use our camera, we use existing photos, they have samples. You can also take snapshots, which is really nice if you're working on it and you want to come back to it. And I'll show you how you do that too. So I'm just go ahead and grab my camera roll here with the original image. It'll process it down and put it within the artboard area. Now, from here, you'll see that it's kind of faded. This is just a visual cue so you can see what's going on. And let's start with the light. By using that, you can see where my finger is. It creates these brush strokes, which are really nice and delicate. And maybe I want something delicate like this. I can get rid of the photo in the background just so I can't see it. And you can start to see what that brush stroke does. You can pinch and zoom, right? And this is just a canvas. There are no multiple layers. Let's go to the heavy brush. You can definitely see the difference here by zooming in. It will magnify based on how zoomed in you are. So if I pull way out, those brush strokes are going to be super large, right? If I zoom in close, they'll be large in comparison to where I'm zoomed in at. This can start making some really cool effects. There's also the coarse, which is the one I always like to usually start with. And it's just a wide arrangement of brush strokes. No detail whatsoever. And this can be kind of fun as well too. Really bright images tend to work best with this. Then we also have, let's zoom in here, outlines. See the outlines create these smaller little strokes that are finding the edges. You can start to see how you can start to combine these things to however you want. These are all preset settings. You can also go in and manually adjust them. So for here, we can make it so that the opacity is much lighter. Bring it down here. I can make the size smaller for this particular brush. This also gives you an idea of what the brushes are looking like. But let's just stick with presets here. You can have structured, which a little more control just based off of the area that you're working in. Fun. Then there's the organic, which is much looser in the way that it applies the paint. There's lines, which basically will grab the color of the area that you're selecting from and paint a different stroke on. I don't tend to use that a whole lot unless it's just like a small edge that I really want to accentuate. But what I tend to like to do, if it's a subject that I want to force the focus to a little bit more, is that I'll use this face. And the face gets in there with a nice detail that after a few scrubs refines it so well. It really focuses that detail quite a bit. Now we also have a smoothing. This is not found on the iPhone version, and I must say that I do not believe this app is not available on Android at this time. I can apply a texture, which is very similar to coarse. And this might be good if, depending on what you're looking to do. Very similar to, reacts to your zoom. Then there's also the erase. Maybe I just did not like what I was doing down here, and I want it to be softer. You can affect those areas there. There's also rip torn edges. Maybe you're going to print this, and you don't want a harsh edge. All right. So I'm just gonna real quick paint this back in. Get some heavy strokes in here. Voila. So I already have the image there. I was just showing you some things that we can do there. There is a cool feature here too. There is the undo and multiple undos by selecting the button to the left. That's good for when you are experimenting and realized, uh-oh, I messed up. Now, this clock icon down here, if you select that, that saves it as a snapshot. So real quick, let's go back to the main menu here, and you can see the new snapshot is there. So I can always come back to that guy. It'll pull in everything that I've done so far, and I can continue to work on it. Or I could save it again as a separate snapshot. Now, one thing, if you want to learn more about this particular software, you can select the little gear button there and about PaintCan. If you go to the Like PaintCan on Facebook, they have some great videos there. They go into a little more depth of what the brushes are doing. But for now, I just wanted to show that to you because I'm going to use this as a background image for the next step here. So now let's move on to Adobe Comp.